Zettel für die lange Weg. 2 Flaschen Whisky für die Zeit. Und ich date gern habe, du bist dabei. Maria geht fort mal weg, ist weit. Wann ich geh, ich werd dir fehlen, wann ich geh. Du sehst nicht, was ich mach, du sehst nicht, wie ich lach. Ich werd dir fehlen, du watsch sehen. Hab kriegt mein Zettel für den langen Weg. Du scheinst da, als wir finden kann. Es hat Maria und Dale ganz wunderbar. Hass ich dir den weißen Dank. Wann ich geh, ich werd dir fehlen, wann ich geh. Du sehst nicht, was ich mach, du sehst nicht, wie ich lach. Ich werd dir fehlen, du watsch sehen. Well, hallo liebe Leute, Doug is wieder da for wieder ein neues Stück von PA Dutch Live. I guess we'll throw it into English just in case we got people out there watching, of course, that don't speak Pennsylvania Dutch. But as I say every month, if you're not learning the language, take the opportunity to start learning it. We got lots of opportunities out there for you to learn the language. But tonight we got a great show coming at you. In fact, I got a really cool announcement. Normally, month after month, we've been live streaming on my YouTube channel and also on our Facebook page, PA Dutch 101. But tonight we also are live streaming on LinkedIn. So we have a whole new platform out there. Hopefully we'll be bringing in some more and some new audience members as well. We got a great show for you tonight. We have the guest, Heather Zimmerman, who is the new director of the Kutztown Folk Festival. And I can't wait to talk to her about her ideas and the festival and all of that stuff. But we're going to hold on as normal at the beginning of every episode. I like to talk about things that are coming up in the Pennsylvania Dutch world, things that you can put on your calendars. And as always, please let me know where you are watching us from. Throw it in the chat bar there. If you're on Facebook, put it in the comment section. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, of course, throw it in the comment section there. I'll give you guys shout outs, of course, as we move along. But let me jump into some of our news coming up, as I usually do. Let me add this to our stream. So as you can see there, that's tonight. We got Heather Zimmerman coming up in a couple minutes. We'll have a Pennsylvania Dutch song and poem as always. But we do have some news to tell you guys about. Last month, I brought some opportunities for you to learn Pennsylvania Dutch. I just found out about another opportunity for everybody, and that is at the Himmels Church, which, if you don't know where that is, we're actually going north of traditional Berks County in the Pennsylvania Dutch country into Northumberland County. So if you're in the greater Northumberland County, particularly around the town of Rheabuck, Pennsylvania, and I have to admit, I had to look that one up on Google Maps because I don't think I'd ever been to Rheabuck, Pennsylvania. But now I know where it is. Northumberland County at Himmels Church, which is on Schwaben Creek Road. And it'll be starting on September 26th. They're going to run 6 consecutive Sundays from 4 to 6 p.m. And it'll be taught by N. Daniel Schwalm, a dialect speaker. And for more information, I don't know anything else. If there's a cost, all I know is here's the dates. This is the location. This is the teacher. His phone number I got, it's right there, 570-648-4095. Please give Daniel a call if you're interested in taking some Pennsylvania Dutch classes. I also came across this announcement on Facebook the other day, which I find really interesting. As you can read here, this was put out by John. I don't know who John is, but that's great. He's saying, if you grew up hearing Pennsylvania Dutch or you're just curious and want to learn something about the language and culture, come join us. We meet 7 p.m. on the third Thursday of every month, except July and August. And they meet, where do they meet? At St. Peter's Lutheran Church. And that is on Hanover Avenue in Allentown, Pennsylvania. If that's a group that you'd like to join every third Thursday, it sounds like a get together to speak about all things Pennsylvania Dutch, maybe practice Pennsylvania Dutch. Sounds like a really great opportunity for anybody out there that's interested. It's in the greater Allentown area. So give John a call there at 484-239-2766. And hopefully you can join the fun over there in Allentown. If you are a regular on my YouTube channel and also on my Facebook page, PA Dutch 101, you will probably remember a couple months ago, I did a video on the historic Kemp Family Cemetery in Berks County. It was a historic family cemetery that was under threat of being destroyed because of a warehouse that was going to be going in on that land. Descendants of the Kemp family took it to court, and we received a final decision just this week. And I wanted to share that news with you because I know a lot of you that are friends of the YouTube channel and of the Facebook page had taken interest in this. Some of you are descendants of the Kemp family. Well, the verdict is out, and it is going to be saved. They came to an agreement with Duke Realty, who was the company that was fighting over the land. And I just put a couple of things that I learned about from the settlement. One, through all of this, the cemetery is staying put. And not only is that going to happen, there's going to be money spent on the cemetery. The brick wall that is around the cemetery right now is in very bad shape. That's going to be fixed. They're going to refurbish the gate that is at the burial ground at the family cemetery. They're going to place a historical plaque, particularly for Captain George Kemp, who was a Revolutionary War veteran, and his slave Hannah that is buried there. They're going to replace existing gravestones, provide gravestones and or markers for unidentified remains found in the ground through penetrating radar. They're going to put a flagpole that's going to fly not only an American flag, but also a 13-star colonial flag. They're going to install some parking spaces for people to come visit the cemetery. Also install and maintain a buffer and landscaping ground around the cemetery. And on top of all of that, this Duke Realty will also be donating $5,000 to both the Berks County Association for Graveyard Preservation, which is a great group. And I'd love to get, if any of you out there watching tonight are associated with that group, I'd love to get somebody from your group on the show one month to talk about what you guys do, because it is such wonderful work. And they're also going to give $5,000 to the Kutztown Area Historical Society. That is a big win for a lot of things. It's a big win, of course, for the Kemp family, that their historic family cemetery is going to be saved. It also is a huge win for the history of Berks County, because that's being saved as well, or at least a part of our history. So I couldn't have been more happy when I got that email from the woman that I'd been in contact with, Sarah, saying, the verdict is out and we won. So congratulations to everybody that fought the good fight for the Kemp family cemetery, because we won one. That's really great to announce to everybody. What else is coming up in the greater Pennsylvania Dutch area? We got the Ole Fair. I've been announcing it for 2 months. It actually starts tonight. So after you get off here, you probably won't have enough time to check it out. But tomorrow night, go down there for supper. Get yourself a good funnel cake and some good Pennsylvania Dutch food there at the Ole Fair. Check out the animals. You know it'll be a good time down there in the Ole Valley. Also, mark your calendars. Coming up this weekend is also the annual Harvest Fair at historic Schaeferstown. That'll be taking place on Saturday from 10 to 5 and Sunday from 11:30 till 4:30 at the historic Alexander Schaefer Farm, which is in Schaeferstown, Pennsylvania. They got a lot of stuff going on for you to check out. Some live demonstrations, live music. There's a hymn sing on Sunday. Look for them online at hsimuseum.org, or also on Facebook. Just search Historic Schaeferstown. That's a great opportunity for you to check out and learn more about our Pennsylvania culture and history. Also, next weekend, we're throwing it to our good friends at the Pennsylvania German Cultural Heritage Center in Kutztown. Their Heimat Fesh. This year, it's going to be Heimat Fesh Light. It is this next Saturday, the 25th, and they have tons of wonderful musicians performing this year. The Martin Sisters Band will be taking the stage at noon, followed by our good friends Mike and Linda Herzog at 1, followed by another good friend of ours, Ben Rader, at 2 o'clock. Then Uncle Jake and the 18 Wheel Gang. If you've never heard them play, they are a joy to listen to at 3 o'clock. And there'll also be food trucks on site, including some ice cream. So if you're looking for something to do on Saturday the 25th, starting at noon, head on down to the Pennsylvania German Cultural Heritage Center at Kutztown University. Say hello to our dear friend Patrick Dunmoyer. He'll be there running around, I'm sure, and check out the great musicians that'll be performing. I know Ben Rader and Mike and Linda Herzog will be performing Pennsylvania Dutch music, so that'd be something worth checking out. And you'll enjoy it. Seriously, it'll be a great time. And it's free. It's free. Just Go, nah ones, as we say. Another thing for your calendars, this is so great. We have so much going on. The West Berks County for Sumling's taking place the first Saturday in October. That's coming up real soon, not people. So call John Roush at 610-488-1400 for your tickets and get for more information. Reverend Richard Miller will be speaking, and the Miller brothers, our good friends from the greater Virginville, Kutztown area, will be performing at good old Bellaman's Church, just in the shadows of the farm that I grew up right there in Center Township, Pennsylvania. Check it out. It'll be a good time. Before we talk about the Kutztown Folk Festival, America's oldest folklife festival, with their new director, I would like to give a shout out to some of the people that are joining us tonight. As usual, we got tons of people. Hey, David Schellenberger joining us from good old Boyertown. And we have Brian joining us in Milford, Indiana. The Midwest is represented already. And then we're going a little farther south. David says hello in Northwestern Kentucky. David, thanks for joining us. Jerry Green is joining us from Augusta, South Carolina on a rainy day. Well, Jerry, it was pretty warm up here today, and we actually had some sun, so you can keep the rain for a while if you want. Barbara's joining us from across the ocean in Kusel, which I've been to, a nice little town in the Pfalz, in the region where our ancestors come from. Our good friend Norman joins us every month from Steinbach am Glan in Germany. He's staying up late as well tonight to join the fun. Dolores is joining us from, beautiful Berks County, and to be specific, Fleetwood, Pennsylvania. Dolly, glad you're with us tonight. David's joining us from the West Coast, San Diego, California. We got Stefan joining us from Fort Smith, Arkansas, I guess. Thanks for joining us tonight. Our dear friend Carol joins us every month, and she's coming to us live again from beautiful downtown Burnville, Pennsylvania. Carol, were you swimming in Blue Marsh today? Maybe you should have went out. It was warm enough, wasn't it? Ashley put a long day in the classroom today. She's a high school German teacher. And Maya Stettel, if you don't know what that is, that's a Pennsylvania Dutch word for Morgan. Moyers, now what the heck, Meyerstedt, I'm thinking Morgantown, but she lives outside of Wummelsdorf, too. She teaches there at Conrad Weiser. Ashley, thanks for joining us. Eric Kissinger joining us from Lower Pottsgrove. Everybody, so we got so many great people. Were you at the Bowers Chili Pepper Festival? Emily wants to know. You know, Emily, I did not make it this year. I hope that you were there and enjoyed the food. That's always a great event to go to. We got France joining us from the Lötringen. Hello. Thanks for joining us. Our good friend David is also joining us from the big city of Macungie, Pennsylvania. And Jim Thorpe being represented, or should we call it Mauchunk, as it was originally called. Ashley, Myerstown. I was right. I don't know why I was thinking Morgantown. Ashley, just like you probably corrected all of your students today in class, thank you. I had to correct a bunch of my students today in class too. Wherever you're joining us from, thank you for joining us. Keep the comments coming, but you've heard enough of me schwätzing. It's time for someone else to schwätz at you, and I am so happy. Oh, Carol says, no swimming today. Work. Carol, I hope you can find some time this weekend to go dip your toes in the Blue Marsh. You deserve it, right? I'm going to bring on our guest for the month, the one and only Heather Zimmerman, the new director of the Kutztown Folk Festival. Heather, thank you so much for joining us here on PA Dutch Live.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. Thank you.
So as I mentioned, Heather is the brand new director. Heather, you just started. When did you officially start in your new position?
June 28th. So I'm still considered pretty new.
You're still feeling your way around, right?
I
Trying
am.
to get used to everything.
Very much so.
I have to say, I mean, I imagine the vast majority of people watching our show, either tonight or watching in the future, are familiar with the Kutztown Folk Festival. It is America's oldest folklife festival. This coming year will be I think the 72nd annual, or somewhere around there, low 70s.
Yes.
So we have this, it's an institution. You know, when you think about Pennsylvania Dutch culture, you cannot think about that without at least giving a nod to the Kutztown Folk Festival. Many of us grew up with the Folk Festival. Some of us have spent most of our lives there every summer. So I guess I want to start off with the first question. Tell everybody a little bit about maybe your background. I know that you shared with me that you're a Berks County girl born and raised. Talk a little bit about that, and also what connection did the Folk Festival have for you in your life up until now?
Okay. Yes, born and raised in Berks County. I'm also a Kutztown University alum. I most recently I've worked in hospitality for over 30 years in the hotel business, and most recently was the director of sales for the Hampton Inn in Kutztown. I helped open that hotel and so forth. The Kutztown Folk Festival, my family, a lot of my father's side of the family is from Fleetwood, Ole, Leesport area. So, I mean, I grew up with the Kutztown Folk Festival, being very prominent in our lives as a kid. As an adult, we were a sponsor when the Hampton Inn was being built. We unfortunately missed our we opened in September. We missed that festival in 2019 and then subsequently missed it again 2 years later, or 2 years in a row. But thrilled to be here, thrilled to be on board and, help move the festival forward, because we know how near and dear this is to many people's hearts and to our culture. So, I'm excited to take that on that challenge with the fantastic team of volunteers and workers and supporters that we do have. So
I'm going to ask you a question. Maybe they asked you in the interview process for this job, but why did you want it?
well, it was presented to me as an opportunity to take something that is so entrenched in our history and in our culture. And unfortunately, after 2 years of, not having the festival, we're at a point where we are on a kind of a fine line. We want to continue the festival in the way that we've always done, and keep all the things that everyone just knows and loves so much. But in order to keep it going, we need to start to attract some younger folks into this festival and get them excited and interested and have them start bringing their kids and so forth. So um, we have to maybe enhance it a bit, add a little bit of freshness to it, just to keep it going, because the last thing we want is to not have the festival. So
Right.
I know changes can be scary, and people can be apprehensive about that, which I completely understand, especially after 2 years of not having the festival. That was probably a little bit disconcerting to many people. But I can assure you that next year we're having the Kutztown Folk Festival, the traditional 9-day festival, July 2nd to the 10th. A lot of when we talk about change, a lot of it is more like even streamlining office procedures and, certain things like that really a guest going to the festival wouldn't have any idea about, because it's really just so that we can pay more attention to our guest experience, our visitor experience. We're
Well,
hoping
you
to have
mentioned you mentioned already, Heather, if I can jump in, that you have to start thinking a little differently, maybe, and having 2 years off is difficult for any organization to,
Sure is.
when you lose something that everybody knows, 1 year you hope, okay, next year we'll be right back at it, but you get
Right.
2 years off, and then people start to get into habits that are hard to break. So the
Right.
one thing I'd like you to talk really quickly about is, the festival for the first time that in their history, I guess, is doing some events
Yeah.
outside of the traditional festival. Could you speak a little bit about what
Right.
you guys have planned for October?
Well, it started out as, we were upset that we weren't able to have the festival 2 years in a row. We also felt that 2 years is a long time to be away. And we know that our visitors just really, really love our festival and the things that we do and the things that we offer. So we knew that we couldn't, obviously put something of that magnitude on in the fall, but we decided to do a fall festival and try that out. So we kick off with a farm to table dinner at Rhoads, which is, highlighting our area and the farming and the food that's available, kind of a more elevated dinner experience. And then we also have a quilt store. We're going to be in the horse building at Main Street and Noble. And they were kind enough to let us have that storefront to have our quilt store, our traditional quilt store, a smaller version, but we'll be having that all week. On the 15th, we're going to have Lester Miller and Keith Brinsenhoff back, and we're going to have square dancing in the street. So we really hope that everybody's out and about downtown on Main Street, that 200 block. for the entertainment. We want everybody learning to square dance and having a great time. We'll have some dessert vendors. We're going to have some food, but we really are trying to encourage guests to go to the local restaurants and shop, and then be out in the street with us, with Lester Miller and Keith. Then Saturday, the 16th, we will be having a day festival on Main. That will go from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And that will be a mixture. We open it up to our traditional vendors and craftsmen and food vendors. If they wanted to participate, we welcome them back first. But then we reached out to some other places that we feel are still making handmade items, handcrafted type of items that we felt still fit with our tradition. So you may see some new faces on that Saturday that are coming. So there's going to be stuff for the kids. We're going to have Ed Hanna back with his magic tricks. We have some face painters, some students from Kutztown University will be doing that. I forgot to say at the farm to table dinner, we will also have 2 students from Kutztown University performing. They'll be doing some folk music that evening as well.
Wonderful.
The morning of October 16th, there's so much to talk about. I think I need to back up a moment. The morning of the 16th, we are having a Dutch barn art bike tour. So I am not a biker. I certainly thought a 15 or 21 mile route seemed very ambitious. Apparently it's sort of a leisurely ride, but it will take us through the countryside and feature our historic barn art that's on local barns. Patrick Dunmoyer has developed that route for us. He's doing a description of what you'll get to see. So that will begin at the Pennsylvania German Cultural Heritage Center, and that starts at 10 a.m. And it's just a ride as you go type of thing. So both the bike ride and the farm to table dinner are ticketed events, and those tickets are available on our website.
And there are still tickets available for all of
yes,
for those events.
Yes.
I know that on the Folk Festival has a very active social media feed, and on their Facebook page, for anyone that's interested, you can see the menu for the farm to table, and it looks absolutely delicious. When I looked at that menu, I was like, my goodness, my mouth started to water a little bit. So everyone, please, check out the Folk Festival's these things coming up in October. There are still tickets available, and you got a couple weeks yet before that happens. But can you imagine anything more fun than having a great meal on a Saturday and then going out in the street and hoedowning and square dancing with our good friends Lester Miller and Keith Brinsenhoff? Even if you don't want to dance, you can stand there on the sidewalk and watch everybody else dance and just enjoy the music. And I have square danced in the past, and I'll do it again. And it is physically impossible to square dance and not smile. I'm throwing that out.
And not have a good time.
Not have a good time.
Right.
Get your heart rate up. Perfect.
Exactly. And it's great for families. It's great for date night. It's great for, whatever. Right. We're hoping to have just a really good mixture of people at all the events, and they're all family friendly. And that's very important to us too. We'd love to get, and gives people who maybe haven't had an opportunity to be at the 9-day festival a chance to test us out and see what we're about.
And it'll be a lot cooler. It'll be a lot cooler than the normal festival.
Yeah. Right. This is a way smaller version. But again, it was just sort of our nod to make sure that people understood how much we appreciate all their dedication and all their love that they've shown the festival for so many years. And, to not have anything for 2 years was long. So having this in the fall just gears us up and gets us ready for next year too. So
right, and the hope too is that you're gonna attract people that maybe didn't even have any interest in the folk festival before, and now they're finding out it is more. It's more than just this festival in the summer. And I want to applaud you guys for coming up, thinking outside the box. It's cliche, but we have to do that these days. And I think what you guys have planned for October, I just hope the weather, behaves itself, and you guys can have some great weather for it. But I think it's just wonderful that
Thank
you're
you.
taking a step outside the comfort zone of a lot of people, probably, and that's tough sometimes for a lot. Like you said, most people watching this know that one of the characteristic traits of the Pennsylvania Dutch personality traits is that we don't really like change, and we are
That is for sure.
if we like something because it works that way, then that's the way we need to keep it.
And
But
there's nothing wrong with that.
no, there's not. Absolutely. I'm that way, but we also have to not take, nod our head in agreement that, we are moving forward too. Time marches on.
We do.
So we got all those great things happening in the fall, but let's shift our conversation a little bit to what can people expect, or what are you envisioning this summer for this summer's Folk Festival 2022?
Well, we are in the process of going through a rebranding. I think a lot of businesses and organizations took these past 2 years as kind of a pause and, taking a moment to really reevaluate where they are and where they want to be. So along with that, this break that we've had, and also the introduction of additional festivals outside of our typical 9-day festival, that's kind of new. Well, it is new. It's new for us. So we felt like this is a really nice time to kind of update our website, update our look, our logo and so forth. And I'll share this tonight, and no one else knows this yet, but you guys are exclusive. Patrick Dunmoyer designed our new logo with Pennsylvania Dutch meaning. So I'm thrilled because I feel as though we've taken it this seriously and we've given it this much consideration that we want our rebrand to be so rooted in what we're about that he took the time to design it, and there'll be a little story about it and so forth. I don't want to give too much away, but we're trying to embrace the tradition because that's never going to go away. But also take it in a fresher look. So it's exciting. We could not love it more, and we love the story behind it even more. So that's coming. So that along with that will come some new promotional materials, new T-shirts, new merchandise, that type of stuff. We'll have a fresher look. As far as the grounds are concerned, I mean, we are working to get that taken care of, and have a site director and people to do our setups and so forth. I don't anticipate much change as far as like how we have always traditionally had the festival. One thing that could be different though, it's been 2 years and some of our vendors and craftsmen may just not be available next year. So after our fall event, we will be reaching out to everyone that's been involved with the festival just to firm up who's coming, who isn't, firm up our entertainment schedule, which we plan on honoring what we had planned for 2020. We're just sort of like pushing everything to 2022.
Right.
But we also realize that there's, people may have chosen to go to a different place, or they are not in the same spot in their lives where they want to commit to that. So that would open up an opportunity to offer spaces to new vendors if they're available. But our commitment is always first and foremost to the people who have been with us. And we just have to figure out what we might have open, if anything.
For those of us that know the festival, I mean, we're going to still experience craftsmen. We're going to experience hands-on demonstration, live music performances, all the things that we know that is the folk festival.
100%.
So it's not like, right. So that's going to be there, but I'm and maybe you can't share some of this stuff yet, or maybe there's still decisions that need to be made. But I think, moving forward, the festival also needs to think about what else can we bring in new, for example, to, as you say, you want to freshen up the festival, which I think is the right thing to do. Not that there's anything wrong with what the festival had been in the past, but things need, every once in a while, you need to change the sheets of the bed, right? Every once in a while.
Exactly.
So I think it's great. I'm super excited. I'm glad that you shared that little nugget of joy with us about a new logo.
We just love it.
I am really, really curious. I mean, a lot of us know Patrick really well, and we know the quality of work that he does. So I know it's going to be great, and I just really, I just really want to see what it is. But we do have one question from a viewer, real quick, Heather. Jerry wants to know: is it wheelchair and stroller accessible? I don't know if Jerry's talking about the Folk Festival or all these October events, but the Folk Festival is 100% wheelchair and stroller accessible.
Yes, all events will be. The fall event, the square dancing and the all day festival will both be in the 200 block of Main Street. And that has appropriate handicap accessible areas and so forth. So yes.
Yeah, if you've never been to the fairgrounds where the folk festival is, it's relatively flat.
Right.
There are macadam walkways everywhere. It's not like
Mhm.
you're walking or pushing a wheelchair over stones or anything like that. The only place you might run into that a little bit would be in the parking lot, but there's handicap parking
Mhm.
right next to most of the buildings, so that really isn't an issue either, Jerry. I hope that
That
answered your questions.
that 200 block of Main Street is relatively flat, which is another reason that we chose that particular area. And it will be barricaded at Noble and White Oak. So it'll be closed off completely. So that should be quite safe, I would imagine. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question, Heather. I don't know how comfortable you feel asking this, and if you don't really have an answer for it, that's okay too. But looking into your crystal ball, a couple years down the road, 2022, you got your focus on that. The festival's gonna, you're planning this one coming up for this year. But looking ahead to the future, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, what do you, as the director of the festival, envision happening? Where would you like to see it go? I mean, if money wasn't an option, if resources weren't an option, what are some whiteboard ideas, big picture ideas that you are floating around in your mind in regards to the folk festival?
I think the folk festival, I think we're more than just the folk festival. I think our region in general should be celebrated, and I think we have a lot to offer. There's a lot of other festivals which we have since been a sponsor of. Burke's Fiddle Fest, we were a sponsor at Chili Pepper. We want to work with our area and our region, because I could see us being a regional destination for Pennsylvania Dutch culture and celebration of that. So I can see the folk festival continuing, but we are committed to doing more of these additional events. And so what those may look like, the one that we're doing this fall is a big learning curve for us, because we are determining, hey, was the bike tour a hit, or was the farm to table, a hit or not, and determining what worked and what didn't work so well. So in the future, we would love to do something maybe at the holiday time. We would love to do something else in the fall. The folk festival itself takes up the greater part of the beginning of the year. But another thing we've talked about is we have some very, very, very talented ladies involved with our quilt barn. They are willing to teach classes on quilting. So even in the wintertime, we could create classes that people could take either via Zoom or in person at our Hampton Inn, which is right down the road, and invite people to come in and learn that craft, that skill.
That is such a good idea.
I love it.
I do too. I really, really do.
And they came to us with that.
As I work with teenagers every day as a high school teacher, and what sometimes really surprises me is I think all too often we sell off our younger generations if they're not interested in anything. And of course, there are kids that aren't interested in anything. But I do have students that every now and then I'll see them knitting or crocheting, and I think to myself, what? Here's a 16-year-old girl,
Right.
and that's something that I always associated with my grandparents that were in their, their 70s, 80s, and 90s. These crafts are not dead. And, it is our job to help pass it on, of course. And
Absolutely.
I just, quilting circles and quilting bees were such a huge part of our cultural history.
Absolutely.
And, if we want to get philosophical, I think these are the types of events that we can bring community together as well, and build community and build generational, close generational gaps. And it's just, that just is a wonderful idea. And I think if you start thinking about those types of events, in the bigger picture, and what else you could do beyond just quilting circle, learning to quilt.
That's an example.
Right. I think the possibilities are endless when we start thinking about this stuff.
It keeps me up at night with excitement, because I keep thinking, like, what about this and what about that, and referencing what you said about students, there's definitely a movement out there of younger folks who really want to. They may not recognize it initially as like an older art form or an older craft, but it's our job to get them excited about that and learn about it. And I think that's where we can enter in and draw these younger people to
Sure.
the festival, because in order for us to sustain the festival, we have to do that. We have to
Right.
get younger people excited so they bring their children and their children.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of opportunity to create those kind of experiences and memories with the younger folks, and a learning opportunity. And I feel like that's what's going to, we don't ever want to be a craft fair with food. That's not what the
Yeah.
folk festival is about. What the folk festival is about is that hands-on, cultural learning experience. And that's what we're going to be always. That's what
Yeah.
we're known for. So I think we have to maybe approach it in a different way to get younger people involved, and maybe create more of these classes or courses or whatever it might be. But it's always going to be staying in the tradition of what we're about and our culture. So,
I
and
yeah.
if COVID
No.
taught us anything these last, couple years, I'd like to look at the silver lining and think that, people now are so focused on family and, being together and doing things as a community. I think
Yeah.
now's the time for us to, this is a perfect time for us to be back with our tagline. Our new tagline is going to be family, friends, and folk life. So
Mm.
I think that's what we're about. And
Yeah.
I think the timing is right for that.
Yeah, I think one of the beautiful things about the folk festival has always been that there are people that used to come just for the crafts or that
Mhm.
came just for the food. And no matter what your original goal for going there was, the folk festival has always been able to sneak education in without people
Absolutely.
knowing it. They're
You
walking
don't
down
even
the
know
one.
you're
Right.
learning,
You're
right?
exactly. You're eating your funnel cake and you're walking down the one walkway, and
Absolutely.
there's somebody demonstrating apple butter making here, or there's the
Absolutely.
seminar stage, and you pop your head in for 10 minutes and you're going to learn something. And at the
Mhm.
end of the day, you walk home
Of
and you might have
course.
bought a hex sign or one of Rachel Yoder's
Yep.
Belschnickels, but you had your
Mhm.
good food. But then you also learned something that you can take home and share with your friends and your
Absolutely.
family. So, I cannot applaud you enough for all that you're doing for the festival. And these ideas that you're sharing with us tonight have me really, really excited as well. And I know a
Good.
lot of people that watch our channel and are active in our Facebook communities, this is just going to make them super excited. I'm telling you, everybody, Pennsylvania Dutch has always been associated as this old thing, but the more work that I do in online, the younger people are into it. They're more
They are.
into it than what we think they are, and we cannot let that slip away. So, Heather,
Never.
I just want to thank you so much for the stuff you're doing. I think you're coming in. It's always good to have a fresh set of eyes on stuff too, and you're
Well,
bringing that. You're bringing a fresh mentality, fresh personality, and I really appreciate that.
thank you. I mean, again, just to reiterate, we're excited to come back next year. We're excited, to get the folk festival back and to continue it going forward. And I do, as I said, I think some people were concerned about where we stood as far as that was concerned after the 2-year break, but we're coming back, and I really think we're going to just really try to continue to embrace new ideas so that we can keep more and more people coming, to keep our culture alive. That's what we need to do. And quite frankly, if we don't, the folk festival probably will wind down at some
Yeah.
point. We do
Right,
not want
right,
that to happen
right. We do
ever.
not.
So,
So, Heather, before we
yeah.
say Mox Good, just real quick. So, we have the events in October, and that's
Yes,
all available on the Folk Festival's website. But also, they have, like I said, they have very active social media feeds on Instagram,
absolutely.
on Facebook,
Mhm.
and also, so everyone can already mark their calendars. Give everybody the dates again for the Folk Festival in 2022 so that we can all write this down and make sure that we're able to make it.
Fantastic. July 2nd to the 10th of 2022.
There you go, people. And I know that there are some Germans and some other Europeans that are super interested in coming over,
I would
that wanted
love
to
that.
wanted to come over 2 years ago and couldn't because of COVID. And then they want to come over last year and couldn't. And I think there's going to be a group coming over, or at least if not this summer, next summer. And that's the other thing I
That's
think we need to build.
fantastic.
We need to build that bridge too, and keep working on that bridge between
I love it.
our culture here and where our culture originates from.
It's
So
a
these are
perfect
all things.
marriage.
It absolutely is.
Mhm.
And these are all things. I know you have full plate, Heather, but you are welcome anytime. And
Oh,
we look
thank
forward to
you.
interacting with you in the future.
Thank
And I'll
you.
probably have you on again in the spring as we get
I
close to
love
the folk
that.
festival, and you can really throw everything at us and be like, these are the people that are going to be performing. These are some of the artists
Mhm.
you can check out.
Oh,
So I'll
yeah.
definitely have you on the calendar for late spring or so when everyone's
Thank
really
you.
excited about the folk festival.
I'm
And
thrilled. Thank you for including me and you know, allowing me to share this information. I appreciate everybody that, you know, tuned in and wants to hear more. I'm always available for suggestions and feedback. If anybody wants to contact me at the festival office, I welcome that as well.
perfect. There you go, everybody. You can't
Mhm.
get, she's throwing herself out there for us, and
I
it's so
am.
wonderful. I wish you all the best in this
Thank
fall
you.
with the October events. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make any of them, but I'll be supporting them and getting the word
Thank
out on
you.
my social media feeds. And then, of course, the folk festival. Everybody, I'll probably be there all 9 days. I
Great.
most likely will be singing at some point there and
I hope
performing
so.
as well. And so we'll keep everyone. Don't worry, we'll keep everyone up to date on
Very
what's coming
good.
up with the
Thank you,
folk
Doug.
festival.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank you
you
very
so much,
much.
Heather. Okay, have a
Appreciate
great
it.
night.
Thank you.
Yep.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Everybody, does it get any better than that? If you weren't excited about the folk festival before tonight, I bet you're excited now. And for some of us, and there's a lot of people watching this show tonight, that the folk festival is Pennsylvania Dutch for them. They can't think of Pennsylvania Dutch without thinking about the Kutztown Folk Festival. And, we went through a rough 2 years without having it. Then, change of leadership. And anytime somebody new comes into an organization, there's always a little bit of trepidation. Some people are, what do they want to do? Are they going to change things? From the message I took away from tonight's interview, and I hope you did the same, was that the folk festival is in very good hands. And it looks to me like we're going to be moving forward for many, many years to come. So we tip our hat to Heather and we wish her all the best here on the channel. And get out there, support these events in October. It sounds like so much fun. That square dancing on Main Street in Kutztown. Where else are you ever going to get that opportunity? Unless you're drunk on a Saturday night, and then it's not very safe to do that. So here's the opportunity for you to have a safe, fun environment dancing on Main Street, Kutztown. Does it get any better than that? Thank you so much, Heather. That idea about the quilting circles, I love it. I just absolutely love it. 3941602 says, hey, here's an idea. You could offer canning courses to teach about sustainability. That's great. A lot of people are growing gardens again, vegetable gardens. That was another thing that became popular during COVID. And the Pennsylvania Dutch survived on canning. That would be a good idea. That's a really good one. Thanks so much for sharing that. Guys, before we move on, check out all of the social media feeds for the folk festival. I know most of you are on social media, but also they have a website if you're not, and check out Kutztown Festival, or just search Kutztown Folk Festival. As we do every month, I like to bring you some Pennsylvania Dutch language stuff. Every month we have a poem. This month's poem comes to us from Thomas J.B. Rhoads, born in 1837 and passed away in 1919. It's September, and for most Americans across the country, that's back to school month. I, being a school teacher, I went back to school actually in August, but we're hot and heavy right now, back to school. And he wrote a poem called Des alt Achteckich Schulhaus, the old eight-sided, eight-cornered schoolhouse. Of course, in his time period, we were talking, one-room schoolhouses probably. I have the Pennsylvania Dutch down the left-hand side, the English down the right. You can follow whichever language you want. I'm going to read some Pennsylvania Dutch for you so you can hear it. So here is Des alt Achteckich Schulhaus from Thomas J.B. Rhoads. Es Schulhaus war just Stock hoch mit achteckige Bad. En common Schulhaus war es just, man kann's net anders nennen. Die Desks, die waren im Schulhaus rum, bis neben an der Schrank. Sie waren an der Mauer fest und dann dabei ein Bank. Man hen lange buchstabieren, lesen, rechnen und auch schreiben. Und Grammar und Geography unsere Zeit vertreiben. Sie sollte bessere Learning haben, sollte gescheit sei wie die Paare. Oftmals sind die Heichgeschlande am Ende doch die größte Narre. Well, how about that poem for you? How about it? A little alt Achteckich Schulhaus from Thomas J.B. Rhoads. Every month, we also bring you a song in Pennsylvania Dutch. And this month, I was thinking about, well, what song could I pick? I was like, there's so many good songs out there. And I decided to go with one that's always really popular at at gatherings, at Versammlungen, that's often sung. I know at the Berks County Versammlung, we always sing this one, and I've sang it at Groundhog Lodge meetings as well. So here is O Pennsylvanisch Land wie schee, which is to the tune of America the Beautiful. Now, if you're American, you know the melody to this song. What I like about this song is, and I don't know who translated it into Pennsylvania Dutch, but I've been singing this version as long as I remember anything. It talks about, of course, how beautiful the Pennsylvania countryside is. And what I really love is in the chorus, it gives a shout out to the counties, the traditional counties that we think of when we think of Pennsylvania Dutch country. Berks, Lancaster, Lecher, Lebanon, Northampton, Schuylkill. Now, for those of you that don't speak Pennsylvania Dutch, that's Berks County, Lancaster County, Lehigh County, Lebanon, Northampton, and Schuylkill. Of course, there are other counties that make up Pennsylvania Dutch country, but those are some of the ones that had the largest concentrations, or some of the largest concentrations of Pennsylvania Dutch speakers. So I got my trusty ukulele here. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it. You can sing along. It's in G. There we go. And you can sing along to O Pennsylvanisch Land wie schee, to the tune of America the Beautiful. O Pennsylvanisch Land wie schee, du bist mir angenehm, und ich verlass dich nimmer, ich bleib grad do daheim. In Berks und in Lancaster und auch in Achteckich, in Lebanon und Northampton und Schuylkill, aber auch da wohnen Leute ganz unerschreit. Wir schicken uns allgleich, wir schaffen hart und essen satt. Gewiss, wir sind allreich. In Berks und in Lancaster und auch in Achteckich, in Lebanon und Northampton und Schuylkill, aber auch wir haben die blaue Barriere, die schöne Felder grün. Wir haben die hohe Karriere, hurra for liberty. In Berks und in Lancaster und auch in Achteckich, in Lebanon und Northampton und Schuylkill, aber auch. Here we go, everybody, last verse. Da Onkel Sam find uns gedrei, wir tun unser Pflicht. Do in die Dolle sind wir frei und schaue Himmelslicht. In Berks und in Lancaster und auch in Achteckich, in Lebanon und Northampton und Schuylkill, aber auch. Well. There's a nice song for you. A little Pennsylvanisch Land wie schee. Does it get any prettier than our Pennsylvania Dutch countryside? Not in my opinion. I've been a lot of places around the world, and I've been to some very beautiful places, but the rolling hills and countryside and farm fields of Berks County, of Lehigh Valley, of Lebanon, of Schuylkill County, of Northampton doesn't get any better. And you know what? The people are even better than that. So there's my shout out to the homeland, so to speak. We got some other people I want to give a quick shout out to. We have these people. I can't believe I love all of my European friends who decide I'm going to stay up after midnight to watch this Yahoo get on the TV, get on the internet. Yeah, get on the TV, get on the internet here and schwätz at us. Lutrabi. Hi, Grüß aus der Pals aus Laudra. Kaiserslautern. I've been to Kaiserslautern. Great city. I love it. Everybody, that brings us to the end of another show. let me say thank you from the bottom of my heart to, first and foremost, Heather Zimmerman, the new director of the Kutztown Folk Festival, for joining us tonight, for sharing her vision of what the Folk Festival hopefully will become, what's going to happen in October, what's going to hopefully happen in the spring. And I do promise that as we get closer to the festival in the spring of 2022, I'll have Heather on again to give her the opportunity to tell us everything that we can expect about the Folk Festival. And again, though, July 2nd through the 10th, 2022. Get that on your calendars, people. You don't want to miss it. I'll be there. I know a lot of you will be there. We'll all be able to hopefully hug each other by then, by 2022, and we'll be able to enjoy a piece of shoe fly pie or a glass of ice cold birch beer and listen to some great music and Schwetzdeutsch and do all the good things that we love to do. I can tell you at this point, mark your calendars for our next episode of PA Dutch Live. It is, at this point, going to be October the 20th. And hopefully that doesn't change. If it does change, I will let you guys know. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do. Tell your friends about the great things that we're doing here. Share the Pennsylvania Dutch Love. Also, if you're on Facebook, join the conversation on the Facebook page PA Dutch 101, where I post all things Pennsylvania Dutch to keep everybody up to date on things coming up, interesting things about our culture and our history, language stuff. You know it. I got it. I'm going to throw it out there at everybody. And if you're joining us from LinkedIn tonight, welcome for the first time to PA Dutch Live. We'll keep the shows coming as long as we can. If you would like to support what we do here, it's really easy. You can buy me a coffee. Just go to buymeacoffee.com/Doug Maidenford, and you can make a monetary donation. All money donated to the channel, to the show, goes to the upkeep of the show, paying bills, buying new equipment, buying me new ukulele strings so I can actually sing in tune, stuff like that. I thank you every month for joining us. It's so great to have you all here, and we look forward to seeing you in October. But until then, as we say every month, and as we say in Pennsylvania Dutch, please take care of yourselves. COVID's not gone. In fact, numbers are going through the roof here where I live in central Pennsylvania. I don't know what the future is going to bring, but hopefully by the summer, we can have a real folk festival again and we can all get together. But until then, take care of yourselves, everybody. Practice your Pennsylvania Dutch. Learn a new word this week. Join us again back next month, and join us on the YouTube channel and on the Facebook page. And until then, as we say, and you know what to say, thanks again for joining us, and Macht's gut.
Ich kann deutsche Worte singen, hoff so kannst du. Welle dann mit Anna singen, sing ich und du. Ich bin froh und ich bin herrlich, wie bist dann du? Ich geh recklen auf die Karte, ich hoff so tust du. Oh, wir singen, sing ich und du. Oh, mir platsche dazu. Viel wie ein Hutschli im Feld, wie viel stand du? Gib dem Doktor gar kein Geld, was gibst dann du? Rumfungiere du ich nicht, hoff nicht tust du. Ich geh zeitlich noch im Bett, hoff so tust du. Oh, mir singen, sing ich und du. Oh, mir platsche